Hello, everybody. Welcome to the MTG Place podcast for all things Magic. Unfortunately, today it's going to be a little different. You're stuck with me. Corey is sick, and you have me today. I'm Josh, or known as Savage Hunter, and today we're just going to talk about some Magic news. We don't have any spoilers quite yet. Duskmourn is coming, but I'm just going to sit here, have a little fireside chat of what I'm thinking about of Magic right now, and we have our little categories over on this side of my screen. We're going to talk about CT scanners and scanning packs, TCG Player updates, Neheb's Nerf, a little bit of Duskmourn, a little bit of Mystery Booster, some of that secret Lair FOMO that's been going on, the new release schedule they just put out, and recently some bans. I think that will be a full episode. Down below, if you're watching on YouTube at least, you can scroll down and see whichever one you want to actually hear about, or just listen to the full podcast. I would really appreciate that. Before we jump into these topics, the show is sponsored by Ironguard Supplies, as always. Thank you, Ironguard Supplies, for being our sponsor. We love their sleeves. We have tons of sleeves from them. We got binders from them. They make really good binders, secure. They're recently new in the TCG Place, but they've been making tons of sleeves for like magazines and other things. But they have been pretty professional with us, and I've been liking their products as of new. So check those guys out. If you check out Ironguard Supplies, you can use our promo code MTG Place and get 20% off. So let's go get in there with some news. All right, so people were freaking out about the CT scanner. It came up with this video. I believe this is the first one with Aaron Wayne's Strange Brain. I'll leave the URL code down in the show notes below. But he's talking about digitally peeking inside a pack of Pokemon cards. This is about a month ago if you're watching now. This guy had the opportunity to buy a CT scanner, and he was messing around with it, and he ended up, why not do some Pokemon cards and Pokemon card packs? See if he can go through a pack of cards and really get into there. And sometimes, like with these Pokemon cards, they have a hollow front, and only the hollow front was kind of showing up. So I'm not entirely sure if it will be for like Magic cards, because some of them are like all foil, and this is like, I don't know, just the foiling front of the Pokemon cards. So I'm not entirely sure where Magic will lie with this, but everyone's up in arms and scared that this is going to be the future, which might be the future. But mostly it's like, you shouldn't be buying loose packs anyway. If you don't know what it is, buy it from the full case if you can. But if you just buy a booster box, that should be safe enough. I know everyone's kind of freaking out about this. One of my favorite things is that saying, if this guy knows that there's like a Gengar inside a pack and you get that pack graded, someone's just like, bro, if it's a PSA 11, if you have a Gengar in a pack and it's graded as a 10, it's an 11 because it's already in a pack. That just got me. I died off of that comment. That was so funny. I don't think, I mean, this is a long way out. This guy said he spent thousands of dollars on just a normal CT scanner, like one that was just like off the side. It's not one of the new ones. So this is not something any pedestrian is going to have, or anybody like really scamming out. I don't think scammers are going to have this. This shouldn't be worried for a good 10 years, but maybe in the future it's a sign showing that like things can get pretty real in the near future. Now, what is Magic going to do about all of this hype? They haven't said anything. I mean, I'm sure they're not. This is kind of just all up in the air stuff, but it is fun to think about. And just the lesson learned today is like, buy singles, don't really rip packs. I wouldn't do it personally. If you know the cards you want, get the cards you want. I know it's fun opening up packs, but leave that to like drafts. My own experience, if you really want like a Christmas present or something fun just to pick me up, that's cool, that's fine. Open up packs, but don't go chasing stuff for packs. Never a good idea. But yeah, be warned, I mean, people could be scamming you either way. Always with the loose packs. Back in the day, you used to weigh those packs, so they would give you the packs that are not weighed, or like they weighed them and they know there's no hollows in their packs. That's back in the day and stuff, but I'm sure it's all fixed now there. But always be wary, always be double checking. Now I wanted to show you TCG Player got this update that's pretty huge. Let's go there on TCG Player. All right, if we just pull up TCG Player here, let's go to Magic. Let's just hit Modern Horizons 3 and see what's around here. These are some low prices. What's a good hitter? Psychic Frog's pretty good. So now with TCG Player, which is pretty huge, is that now when you look at their market price history, it actually shows how much items are sold. So on July 4th to July 6th, 337 Psychic Frogs were sold between like $7.38, about average, which is pretty huge. Actually showing the flow of people buying, and if people are still buying, like 122 was just recently Psychic Frogs being sold. And just always be looking at this at prices and dipping. Normally when you want to buy something new, yes, you're going into the hype of the cards. You want to wait 2 weeks. And as you can see with this Psychic Frog, it dips down like right away, pre-saling. Never buy it pre-sale. Just don't do it, folks. It's just way too high. And then about in 2 weeks past, that's where it's hit its lowest. That's where everyone's going to be trying to resell their cards, trying to reflip it. And that's when you want to buy in. And then you can see the market adjusts to right after. Most people, 707 were buying there. Then the market saw, oh, people are buying. They're going to put it up, put it up, put it up. Still at 756, 518 Psychic Frogs removed. And so then it just keeps going up and up. And then usually people start really knowing where the card lies. And Psychic Frog's a pretty good card, just going to say. So it's going back up there. It's now up to like $12. So a little late on the pre-sale price was better than what it is now, which, yes, Psychic Frog is a very, very good card. But if you want to buy singles, yeah, wait the 2 weeks. That's usually always going to be your window. Just the new update of actually showing what items are being moved is huge for TCG Player. Yes, it's only TCG Player. It's not going to be your Card Kingdom. It's not going to be anywhere else. Your Frog and Toad. But TCG Player is usually the big hubbub. I want to find a good card. Let's sort by... Can I get a filter? Not best match. There we go. Price, high to low. High pricing. Well, we're not going to... Ocelot Pride could be a cool one to look at. Let's look at Ocelot Pride. So pre-sale price was at $40. In that 2 weeks, went down to $16.90, and that's when 431 were moved. And then all the way up to right now, everyone notices it's a good card. It's at $48. Recently, 48 moved at 48. That's kind of funny. But just knowing these items being sold at like how much is just so cool and so awesome. TCG Player to be out front about it and just showing the finance of cards is just huge. I used to go on MTG Finance. I still do. Or MTG Stocks. Let's look at the One Ring. This is kind of like MTG Stocks was like the place. But TCG Player just kind of has it. This goes in overall markets of all, so I would still use MTG Stocks. But TCG Player just having that right on the whim when you're buying cards is pretty sick. Pretty freaking sick. Now, the One Ring's a whole nother topic. We're going to get on bans, but it didn't get banned. And now it jumped back up to $130, $140 on Card Kingdom. Whew. But I just love this new TCG Player update. Let's look at another decently good card. Flage. Let's go with Flage. Like that 2 week mark, 466 Flages were bought at $14, which right now it's at 28. And 68 removed that day. But yes, wait that 2 weeks. Let it go down. 2 weeks is the prime time to buy, because that's when people have the product on them, and the people who don't want, are like flipping and stuff, are just going to dump them into the market. So never do pre-sale prices. If you can wait the 2 weeks, wait the 2 weeks, and then the market tries to adjust for it. Yeah, that's TCG Player. Next, we're going to talk about this Neheb Nerf. And as I say, Neheb Nerf, in quotations, it got kind of rolled back. So let's look at here. This was 1 month ago. Matt Tebek is a part of the Wizard of the Coast. There are functional changes to a few cards. Second main phase is only the second one and not the third, fourth, or subsequent ones, if applicable. And someone says, to clarify, cards like Neheb the Turtle will now only trigger once a turn, or will they keep something functionally similar to the original printing and current Oracle rulings? And then once a turn, at the beginning of your second main phase, if you have subsequent main phase, it won't trigger at the beginning of those. So they were going to roll back all cards that said post-combat main phase. This doesn't work. Let's look up Neheb the Eternal. So Neheb the Eternal says, at the beginning of your post-combat main phase, add a red for each 1 life your opponents have lost this turn. Okay. Scryfall does say at the beginning of your second main phase, add a red for each 1 life your opponents have lost this turn. Maybe they didn't roll back on this, so I assume they rolled back on this. All right, now I'm reading this new one. The Neheb post-combat main phase update will continue to function as they are. This was 1 month. Okay, update. There are 11 cards in Oracle plus 3 Alchemy only cards that will continue to use the term post-combat main phase. After MTG Bloomberg, they'll receive a small wording tweak to be more clear about how they work, which matches how they've always worked. This group includes Neheb, say that emphasizes this was never any particular power level targeted functional change. Musing it does not include World at War, which seems to appreciate the update of second main phase. Okay, as we know, pre-combat and post-combat will be depicted in terms supported unlikely to appear. Really happy these rules teams listened and adapted so quickly. Yes. So I think Scryfall hasn't gotten fully updated yet, because if it's only the second main phase, the thing we are worried about here is aggravated assault was the main thing. Did I spell this right? Aggregate assault? No, I did not spell this right. Let's just type in assault. There we go. Aggravated assault. It's an old card from Odyssey. Pay 5. Well, it's enchantment for 3. But once it's out there, you pay 3 and 2 red. Untap all creatures you control. After this phase, there's an additional combat phase followed by an additional main phase. Play this ability only times you could cast a sorcery. So when Neheb goes and attacks, beginning of post-combat main phase, it deals 4 damage. You need to have another person deal another little bit of damage. So once you deal 5, you're going to get 5 mana for each 1 life your opponents have lost. So that will be 5 red mana. You put that into aggravated assault. You get to do that again. Neheb gets to untap, attack again with its other extra one. You need that 5. Deal that 5 again. Get 5 again because it's post-combat main phase. And keep going off infinitely. If it did say on your second main phase only, you would only get that mana on the second main phase. And this would be a huge nerf to the card. And just eradicating cards as they are played is not something most people like, because their physical cards does not explain the cards, as you've heard from the professor or something. Reading the card no longer explains the card. That's a whole nother topic, because lots of cards don't do that anymore. But they do nerfs also on Arena, which is just hurtful, but they only do nerfs for Arena, for Pioneer specifically, I think. But in your physical card realm, those cards do not change. And I like how they rolled back so fast after everyone explaining that this doesn't work. But going forward, they are no longer going to have post-combat main phase. They know that it goes infinite with too many things. And now they're just going to have second main phase. Or maybe if it's the third main phase, if they know you're being cheeky or something. Doing something special. So I'm glad Neheb did not get super nerfed, but it was a close call. It could have happened. All right, now we're just going to do some Duskmourn hype. I've been recently getting into the story of Duskmourn, and Magic the Gathering's own YouTube channel right here has been telling the story, but in audiobook form. So if you don't want to read the stuffs, which I normally just skip over, I put on the audiobook on like my long car rides or if I'm just doing chores. This story has been pretty awesome. I'm pretty invested into it. Like I said, I haven't done episode 3 quite yet, but just having that old horror trope of going into a mansion, a haunted mansion, is just super on point and flavorful. That I don't know. I played D&D, and one of my favorite campaigns was just this haunted mansion and things going awry and just all of the craziness that can happen. And it's got a good cast. Like, I'm really loving all of the crew here. Kaito being one of them. The Wanderer is here, as you can see. But what's crazy is that this house is not your normal house. It's a whole, like, plane of existence. Like, it's so big that it's basically a plane. Each house or different compartments is so huge that it's its own entity, which is, I guess, how Magic's going to say, like, it has its own, like, we can do a full plane of this, but it's pretty cool. I'm enjoying it a lot. I'm really hyped for it. Here are the basic lands for the set. This looks pretty sick. I don't know. I know my friends are going to really enjoy it, and it's going to come right in time for Halloween season. So pretty perfect timing with that. I know they pushed it a bit ahead because they want to fit foundations in, which is kind of sad, but you know, that's all right. It's still around the same time. I'm still not sure about having so many different treatments of cards. There's so many treatments. Japanese showcase. Mirror Monster is just full art, I think. It looks the same. I have no idea. Not a fan of Paranormal Frame, but I get it. It's cool. It's for some people. But then there's also, what is this? Double exposures and textured foil double exposures. So you can feel it. Those are probably going to be pretty spendy there. Some special guests, of course. Let's see. Delirium's back, which is awesome. Of course, it's got to be back. Using your graveyard is just totally horror themed. Impending. Impending's a new one here. So this guy has Impending 4 for 1 green. If you cast a spell for its impending cost, it enters with 4 time counters on it and isn't a creature until the last is removed. At the beginning of your end step, remove a time counter from it. So whenever it enters or attacks, create a tapped colorless land name everywhere that is an every land basic type. So that's pretty cool. It ramps you, and then after a while, it turns into this big horror for pretty cheap. So I think Impending can be really good for like CEDH almost potential, because you get the cost that you want for super cheap. You just get it out there and bam. You could have a bunch of things that say your creature spells can't be countered. There's that one drop, name eludes me, Allosaurus Shepherd is a playable card. And so that gets your creatures uncounterable. And Enchantress decks could really work well with it because it comes out as like Enchantress. I'm wondering if Impending could also be like artifacts. I could see it because it isn't a creature. That's all it says until it's removed. It turns into a creature. So it could be interesting. I really see the power level on it, though, because late game it will be that final creature to actually deal some damage. But you want that good ability to come out right away. So that's cool. Room cards haven't been explained quite yet, but it's a new type. Room hasn't been before. I think it's just... We'll see what it is. It's interesting that rooms are a thing. Could be like stadiums in Pokemon. I don't know. Arc Enemy makes a lot of sense here, as one person is the big boss monster versus 3 heroes. That just makes super sense. I love that. Even though I don't play like Arc Enemy or any of these other weird stuff. But it is cool. I might try it out. I might try it out. Definitely cool. I guess we talked about Foundations. Let's look at that quick. All right, so Foundations was a surprise thing for us. It's going to be a standard set. They're going back to core sets. But this time, this core set is going to be here for, what, 5 years? Let's until 2029. Yeah, 5 years long of a core set. And I think that's super cool. Everybody loves EDH being an internal format or other internal formats because it kind of just stays the same. And this will get like that first step in, and people will always know to play around these cards and kind of have this sort of metagame that's never really changing too much. If you've played Hearthstone, this is just like the classic set. The classic set, you're going to have your Yetis. You're going to have all your good stuff, your knife throwers. It's been a while since I played, but it's just like the classic set. Now, I'm a little worried that they're going to have Llanowar Elves for 5 years in a row. A 1-mana dork is super powerful, so that's going to be interesting. Day of Judgment that's pretty classic. Like, I'm feeling like this will hit super well. I think this is going to play out way better. It's got me interested in Standard, so I've been playing a little bit of Standard recently. I don't know. I think this is super smart of them to have Foundations. We'll have to see how it all shakes out. Their first showcase is going to be later on this year, I believe, or early 2025. I think it's right when Foundation comes out. It's going to be down in Atlanta, Georgia. And that should be a fun tournament to watch. Yeah, I think Foundations is going to be a hit. People are saying like this is going to be the end of Magic. They always say that, but I don't know. I think this is super cool. Personally, I want to get a box myself and just try to see what Standard is all about. Get like the foundations of Magic all started over again. Standard really needs a shakeup, and I think this will be the shakeup of all time. So this is a good step. This is a good step for Magic here. We'll see how Llanowar shakes out. Maybe they'll actually do some bannies in Standard, but we'll see. We'll see. This will be the set to have some bans, I would imagine so. They will probably play it safe, but being for 5 years in a row, people might complain about Llanowar Elves or Day Judgment. We'll see, though. All right, now we're going to talk about Mystery Booster 2. Everybody loves Mystery Booster 1. It had Mana Crypt in it, and that was pretty hype. Mystery Booster 2 is now going to be a festival-only box. So that has people up in arms. You cannot buy this box and retail. It's not going to go to your LGS, which is pretty hurtful. I do love how when you go to MagicCon, you can play this super special new set that is only in festivals. And whenever you do pick up drafts, it's always Mystery Booster, usually when it was Mystery Booster 1. But now it's going to be Mystery Booster 2, which is super cool. But I think, honestly, guys, they're only for festivals. This is going to be there for a long time. The cards are going to be around, and maybe in like 2 years, they're probably making FOMO, and in 2 years, they're going to be like, all right, let's just put this out onto shelves. It's going to come out. So I wouldn't be too scared that you're not going to get these cards and buy out. I would just wait. But these cards do look sick. They have White Border coming, and White Border coming back is hilarious. And most of these cards, like Iona, Shield of Emeria, they did a good job with picking these because White Border is just going to create salt. This is just like, really, you're doing a White Border? When someone plays Skyclave Apparition, if it's White Border, it's just so hurtful. So hurtful. The Stony Silence on your artifact deck. The Daze, if you get dazed by a White Border Daze, oh man. Mental Misstepped, Displacerkin, Narset. Like, these are just some salty cards. Salty. Fairy Macrae for Pauper. Oh my goodness. It's going to be hilarious. Like, they did such a good job with the salt factor of these cards. Just Simian Spirit Guide again. Let's see here. What's some good? Veil of Summer getting hit by it. Dak Faden getting stolen. Minskin Boo to Fairy Time Reveler. Like, ouch. These cards hit on that certain Bachuka Bogged. Oh, so perfect. So perfect. I love it. I love it. The snow-covered plains, or the snow-covered lands actually being white to feel like snow. I like that too. That's also hilarious. And they made snow-covered wastes. I think that's new. Future Sight frames are going to be the hit of the town, though. This is what I'm most excited for. They just look so good. I don't know how, like, the art just pops in these frames. I don't understand. Like, it's so good. Contagion being reprinted and Magic Online art, so good. Rot Hulk being reprinted. I don't know. I think these look really, really, really good. I'm super hyped about them. They just look so gorgeous. I don't understand why or how. Maybe it's just different. I love Crackdown. Used to play Thalia, the 3-drop Thalia that everything comes in tapped. And so everything stays tapped with Crackdown. Being that it's my commander, Thalia in mono white deck was just so good. Back to the basics. Flusterstorm reprint again. Like, these are some bangers, some banger hits. Tinker, Demonic Consultation, Eater of the Dead, new art is so sick, so sweet. If we want to do combo of the day, hey, that's a segue. Eater of the Dead is a good one. For 0 mana, activate him. If Eater of the Dead is tapped, exile a creature card from a graveyard to untap him. So we're going to combo this off with Fenix, God of Deception. Let's click on this guy. So he's a 5 mana god, but creatures you control have tap. Target player mills X cards, where X is his toughness. If we do Eater of the Dead, we tap Eater of the Dead for 4. Your opponent mills 4. If they have a creature in there, Eater of the Dead's going to eat it on up and untap him. Then we get to retap him with Fenix again, right? Because he has the tap ability, mill 4 cards. Make them mill 4 cards. Hopefully you hit a creature and keep doing that over and over, milling your opponents out. It's almost infinite, but it's more fun where it's like, do you have a creature in there? Let's hope you have a creature. Oh, you got 2? That makes me pile up 2. And hopefully just mill out your opponents. It's a super fun card to have in your Fenix God of Deception deck. And it's hilariously fun. Hey, we fit a segment in here. Awesome. But yeah, I'm super in love with this. Using this old art is just so gorgeous. That Goblin King is amazing. Amazing. Forest Bear, the Natural Order. Norwood Priestess reprint. It's pretty hype. These look so good. Lotus Petal, they can reprint Lotus Petal. I never knew that. No. It's a common card. Pauper players are dying. Then these bottom ones, why it's kind of out of order, is I think these come in foil only. So foil, being foil is awesome. Urza, Gix, all of these are only in foil, which is going to make them even harder to pull. But they have this old school art that's just so good. So good. I love this Urza. I know Urza is a dirt cheap card right now because it's been reprinted so much, but this is going to be something like, oh my gosh, that looks so good. Gix looking good as always. Titania, like, I want all of these cards so bad. That Karn just looks good. I wish it wasn't this new Karn. The old Karn's in reserve list, so I get that, but I don't know. These are going to be hype. Very collectible. Cisse looking good. That's Mystery Booster 2. I would say wait a long time before if you want these certain cards, because I honestly think they're just driving up FOMO, and maybe in a year or two they'll actually put it out in LGSs. So I would wait, maybe buy the single or two you want, and remember, yeah, buy singles. Speaking of FOMO, there is this, we're going to talk about Secret Lairs Monty Python edition. This was a banger, just hit This is so good. When they do, what do they call them? Universes Beyond. When they do Universes Beyond, that's actually like magic adjacent, magic lore adjacent. It's just so good. Especially like Monty Python. This stuff is hilariously awesome. Let's see if we can go to actual secret lair. Boom. Here we go. Inside an elevator. Monty Python and the Holy Grail Volume 1. Here we go. Tim the Enchanter as Prodigal Sorter, because everyone called it Tim. That's just so perfect. Bring Out Your Dead as Buried Alive. So perfect. Tis But to Scratch. Like, this is so awesome. African Swallow, and then you flip it over. It's actually a European Swallow. It's so good. It's so good. Like, everything about it. But what Secret Lair has been now is that it's you have to be there at the time and they will sell out. Back in the day, you could just buy it for a limited time, like maybe 2 weeks, but you can come in those 2 weeks and buy it. You'll know it's going to be there. But now they want to create FOMO and make it so we only have a limited amount of supply, which I get. You want to create FOMO. You want people to buy your stuff. But when it's something like so good like this, people were up in arms. They waited for this story. They waited for it to open on like a Monday, which people are at work and stuff. And they waited for, like, people waited in line for an hour or 2 hours just to not even be able to get it because it just sold out. Just because people are like scalping it, and other people, this set was hot, super hot. And which has just been pretty bad. They should go back to their old secret lair ways. I think they should, just because, like, give the people what they want. I know they want to have stuff to have, let's see, limited stock. They can print these onto demand. They just choose not to, which is just, I don't know. I feel like this will stop the scalpers from actually like scalping. Like, look, these new stuff are sold out. Mostly it's because of this Karlach, all this what is that? Baldur's Gate 3 stuff has been selling out. Can we even see like the normal Baldur's Gate 3? Limited stock. Do they even show it anymore? Like, you can see Karlach there, and then you can see Asterion up top. Those are sold out, but these are like the big bundles. See if we click Dragon. Yeah, here we go. Asterian's Thirst. Karlach's Rage. Already sold out within 2 days, I think. Maybe it was less than 24 hours. But it's just, it kind of sucks for, you know, your normal person who wants to buy it. And now they have to buy the overpriced version online. Let's click on Secret Lair Monty Python for $93. I don't think they were going for $93 at the start. Like let's see, like, yeah, it would have been $30, and now you have to pay triple the price. People started off at like 200. How many were sold? Oh no, those poor souls. 12 items sold, 9 items sold. But people started buying it around 90. That makes sense. But still, that's like triple the price from what it normally was. If we wanted singles from that, let's see. These are price high. Let's go best match. Tis But a Scratch just for $23. That's a lot. Tim is 6. That's okay. But like Ashnod's Altar 19, African Swallow, freaking $22. That's a lot. That's a lot. I don't know, man. I think it just helps out the scalpers. It doesn't help out the Magic community, and just puts a sour taste in everybody, especially for those people who waited there for like an hour or two and just didn't even get it, who were actually like took time off of work or was like worrying about it while at work, working. But, you know, that's just, you know, the gossip going around. I don't really like it, but I'm not normally a fan of Secret Lair anyway. I like my Magic cards looking like Magic cards. I would have liked this Monty Python, though. I would have bought that. It's just so on point. So on point. It's just a shame. It's a shame. All right, now we're going to talk about this release schedule I've found for 2025. I don't know, just going to go see what it's all about. Bloomberg just released. Duskmourn's coming out. Foundations we just talked about. And now Innistrad Remastered coming out in January. I love remastered sets. They have been so on hit of reprints and like the best of the best. They come with old border stuff. Oof, my favorite. So we'll see what kind of old border comes in there. Maybe Crystal Brand, please. But I'm always a fan of remastered. They also have been really fun for me. So let's see what's next. Multiplanar Race should be the start of 2025. That sounds like Foundations is going to have those 5 major planeswalkers that may start like this major overarching story for those 5 years. That would be super cool. Multiplanar Race is the start of a whole new story. I feel like this year has been just kind of like the cowboy set, the murder set. That's kind of like Bloomburrow. Everything's on their own and not as like one unit. And maybe Foundations can really get into there as like a full on story again. Like it was really cool when March of the Machine happened, and that was the full climax of Phyrexia and everything. This full story was just so big. It felt good to be away from that for a bit, but now I'm ready for a new story. I'm ready to come back. Return to Tarkir could be super cool. Something with time and dragons and fetch lands. Space Opera seems hilarious. Maybe... I mean, they did a little bit that with that silver border set. So, I don't know. I think Magic has gotten to that point where Space Opera almost seems okay now. That it's just so out there that Magic is this over-encompassing thing that could be. Maybe they'll work well. Return to Lorwyn, though, that's going to be hype. Lorwyn has been amazing. And just coming back to that, hopefully the artists really see Lorwyn and like creates that sort of setting is what I'm hoping. Final Fantasy should be super sick. Marvel, I'm not a huge fan of, but people are. It will be cool. Then Return to Archvidos, I don't even know, but that's in 2026, and maybe we'll know there. That's the news for that. Now let's talk about bans. Bans just happened. Pioneer I don't play, but Sorin being banned makes sense. It's a 3-drop planeswalker that you can -2 right away to put a vampire into play, and you played Void Ripper, who's a 6-drop, or the biggest vampire you have, and it's just insane on turn 3. I can understand that. Modern Nadu being banned is the big talk of the town. If you watched the big pro tour last one, it was just Nadu everywhere, and Nadu won, and they've even openly said that Nadu was a mistake. Let's see if we can find that quick. On banning Nadu Winged Wisdom. So how did we get here? It used to be you may cast same cast flying 3/4. You may cast permanent spells as though they had flash. Whenever a permanent you control becomes a target of a spell or ability an opponent controls, reveal the top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it on the battlefield. Otherwise, put it in your hand. That only hit your opponents, so it didn't hit yourself. You couldn't Shuko, you couldn't combo off with Lightning Greaves or any of these 0 mana activated abilities. And the twice per turn didn't help. So this was just for your opponents. This was kind of like a Leovold thing, which seemed really cool. That would have been just fine. But why they didn't want that is you may cast permanent spells that they had the flash. They said that this would be too good for Commander. And yeah, Commander play. And them focusing on Commander way too much has just been kind of a problem for all stuff. As you could tell for the Pro Tour and stuff, they shouldn't have. Whenever they think it's a problem, they should really like relook at the changes, and that should be a top priority. Because what Nadu turned out to be was just way, way too strong. I don't know. Them being like this was a mistake and they changed it has worked, or they did that with like Oko, and lots of other stuff. It's just silly. I don't know. I guess Nadu being a commander like CEDH card has been pretty interesting. Do like that. But commander players are complaining that they're getting too much, wizards controlling too much of the commander, and modern players are being affected by it. Everyone's just being affected by it, and I don't know. It's interesting to look at how Magic has turned to just being commander stuff only. I'm still enjoying Magic though, so we'll see what the future is. It does look very bright. Go back to our bans. Grief being banned is good. Everyone complained about Grief and Legacy. Vintage, I don't play that much, but Urza Saga being restricted and Vexing Bauble being restricted is kind of weird. Vexing Bauble was the answer to like Force of Will and all my other like 0-drop stuff, cheating in things like Grief and everything. It being restricted is kind of weird. I think they want Force of Will to be like the thing in Vintage. I don't know. I mean, same with like the Moxen and Black Lotus. So Vexing Bauble being restricted with those kind of makes sense. Maybe Vintage is just turning out to be like CEDH in a way where it's just singleton at one point. I don't know. It's just kind of silly. Yeah, that's all I wanted to talk to you about today. I think that's all the Magic news. Thanks for hanging out. This has been our podcast. Sad Corey has been here. I'm sure next time we'll be talking about Duskmourn. But yeah, if you enjoyed what we were talking about, please use our affiliate link down below at TCG Player. It's down in our show notes. And then if you want to come hang out with us on Discord, we have a Discord to come talk to us. Or if you want to help support us, we have a Patreon too. Come check us out. You can join at any sort of thing you feel most comfortable joining at. If you enjoyed this content, thanks for hanging out with me, and we'll see you next time.